Welcome to MACLA.
Hey everyone, welcome to MACLA's Gallery Castellano Playhouse. I'm here with the art for our 22nd annual LatinX Art Now auction and exhibition. I'm super excited to show you what we put together. All of the work that we have available in our auction has been donated specifically by LatinX artists into our LatinX gallery. MACLA really values supporting our artist community, and so specifically right now during COVID, where a lot of the artists that have donated work into our auction are working artists, and artists are actually able to keep 50% of whatever their pieces sell for. And so that's just something to keep in mind as you're placing bids on our pieces. You're not only supporting MACLA's programming, but you're also in extension supporting our local artist community. And so definitely keep that in mind as you're bidding, and good luck to you.
Tonight we're celebrating MACLA's 22nd annual LatinX art auction. Proceeds from tonight's event support our Latinx artist community and MACLA's programs, which engage over 38,000 people annually. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. 2020 has been a challenging year for our local Latinx art community. While we miss gathering at MACLA to see live music or a theater performance on our stage, the newest exhibitions in our gallery, or what our youth are creating in our digital media studio, I am inspired by the resiliency of our artist community. Now, more than ever, our artists provide the opportunity to reflect upon the world that we are living in and to offer us hope. Join us in supporting their work. I'm happy to share that we are offering all artists 50% of the artwork sales proceeds from tonight's event.
Hello everyone. On behalf of MACLA's entire board of directors, I'd like to welcome you to our annual fundraising event. This is a special evening. Thank you so much for being part of MACLA's familia and joining us tonight. There are so many ways that you can support our efforts, from buying a terrific piece of art, to making a donation to MACLA, to following us online, or attending a program in person when we are able to gather again.
My Don't Cry series it's an exploration in vulnerability in public space. It really came from a place, I'd say, of exploring sadness and exploring emotion, but also exploring stereotypes and the ways in which culture might have specific ways in which we're told to behave. Don't Cry, even in the title, is sort of sarcastic in that all of the project is about crying, but it really hopes to kind of bring about those thoughts of the way in which we're told not to show our emotions. I photograph people who aren't crying. They're just, there together with me. They've agreed to be a part of this project. And when we sit down together to make this, I talk to them about, what the process is going to be. They don't need to cry or even show any vulnerability at all, but we talk about crying together. We talk about vulnerability during the process. And I think that's part of what excites me while I'm doing it. So we sit down, I take a photograph of their eye up close, and then I scratch and I press into the Polaroid while it's developing. Before I'm done drawing, they slip that note back into my book anonymously. So I don't actually know who's written which piece. And it became like a conversation. People are relating to what other people are writing, and they all really start to kind of evolve into a bigger idea. I think that crying around someone else shows extreme courage, because that level of vulnerability is a lot harder to achieve than that toughness that our society wants to say is more important. De dolor se canta cuando llorar no se puede. Lágrimas de cocodrilo, llora, mijo. Tú llora, no llores. Deja de chillar, chillar, chillar. I like that sweet tear, the one that comes in the shower, the one that carries a little bit of burden with it. My amiga dice, cry, cry, cry. And the true horror is that a woman would feel so free to express her pain and emotions felt from her oppressors. I was always shamed for being a crybaby, a llorona. These tears, a wave of release from my body, from my soul. Me pierdo, me encuentro. My eyes cry when I play sports in the wind. It allows my opponents to underestimate me.
I don't know where you've been for the past 10 years, but migration is a hot topic. It's trendy. It is in. Being a citizen is so overrated. If you want free press, you should bring your social and be a rebel like me. Live your life as undocumented. I have no memory of my crossing. For the sake of this show, I will entertain you with something more dramatic. Because really, who's gonna check public records? You can't. We are undocumented. It's an August night in 1991. My abuela is the mastermind behind this whole plan. My abuelo, like always, is drunk. My mother crossed 2 years prior, so she finally saved enough money to send for us. She hired a coyote. For those of you who are culturally impaired, I do not mean a coyote, I mean a human smuggler to get us across. And when I say human smuggler, I'm sure you're imagining a character of Narcos or some badass drug cartel leader. But our smuggler was a señora. Straight up, this lady looked like she could be selling tamales on the corner of 24th and Mission. Don't typecast immigrants, because that sweet old lady selling you those delicious tamales could be, in fact, a human smuggler. We're a group of 13, mostly men, except for my abuela, my brother, and me. Before crossing, my abuelo had a going away party of sorts, so he's crossing the border hung over. I know what you're thinking. How irresponsible. But when you think about it, when you're about to leave your country, your land, your whole life behind to come to a place you know nothing about, what else is there to do than to drink up? Lord knows if I'm about to cross the desert like some Fear Factor challenge, I'm gonna need me a couple of shots. Once we cross the desert, it's when things got interesting. Being that I'm 3 years old, my abuela's main concern is me crying and giving away this whole Operation Wetback. They have to stick the 4 of us under the backseat of a car on some human Tetris type of situation. These adults think that the best preventative measure to avoid me making any noise is to give me NyQuil. So that's the basic plot of my migration story. I didn't even want to be here. I was drugged, kidnapped, and brought here. Eat your heart out, Lifetime. You would think that this would be enough dramatic details to convince conservatives of my humanity, but they just need a little more. They always want a little more. Cue in the Sarah McCollum animal cruelty commercial. This is Yosimar Reyes. He's a DACA beneficiary. Yosimar's a dreamer. When he crossed the border at 3 years old, he did not know he was breaking the law. He thought he was coming to Disneyland. Call your Congress people now and save Yosimar's life. Truth be told, I feel like if I was a dog getting deported, conservatives would be outraged. I can see the headlines now. All dogs go to heaven, free them all, cages are cruel. If there were masses of dogs being deported on the daily, immigration detention centers would be abolished by now. When reporters asked me, what was it like? Did you have to ride a bestia to get here? With the drug cartels behind you? Tell us more about the violence. My scholarship response is always, it was a dark, gloomy morning, typical in a Mexican morning because we're such a developing country that the sun doesn't shine. My abuela heard a whisper in the wind and it was La Virgen de Guadalupe. My daughter, you are to migrate north. This grandchild of yours is the Messiah, like Buffy, the vampire slayer. He is a chosen one. It would be best if you took him to the United States. This child is on a mission to denounce imperialism and eradicate white supremacy. Only he can stop this, so pack your things and go. So at the age of 3 years old, I packed my belongings in cardboard boxes tied by shoestrings, and I began my pilgrimage.
My relationship with MACLA is really special. I first started working here 5 years ago in the youth space, and now I'm back as MACLA's Marketing and Grants Director because I've seen the power of what this organization can accomplish. The impact that a place that not only reflects and honors, but also uplifts Latinx people has on the confidence of MACLA youth is incredible. These youth have gone off to college, pursued degrees in multimedia, and are now working in the industry, bringing their much-needed voice. MACLA gave them the space to become the visionaries and leaders that they are. Tonight, support by not only donating, buying art, and spreading the word. Do anything that you can, because MACLA is vital as a contemporary art space dedicated to elevating Latinx people.
I've been able to do so much great things with MACLA and the folks who have gone through MACLA. And I've seen some great young people develop, and go off and do other things. But that's kind of what's also exciting, is being able to see how it cultivates younger generations of folks that are coming up in the arts. And that's a really important thing. Usually when I'm invited to the auction, I'm like, okay, which piece, what do I want to donate? And I knew which one right away, because I wanted to connect the uprising that would just happen after the murder of George Floyd. The expressions on those females' faces is really bold. I wanted to capture sort of like that nuanced kind of sensitivity in their faces and their bodies.
We have some exciting news to share with you tonight. MACLA is growing. We have just started a new professional media production studio as a social entrepreneurship branch of MACLA. We're going to be able to provide video production services to our local nonprofit, business, corporate, and government sectors. And there's going to be a twist. We're going to be providing training for youth in our community with a focus on LatinX and BIPOC youth to help them learn how to do professional video production. We're going to be offering paid internships and apprenticeships, and it's one of the ways that MACLA is being really innovative about how to move forward supporting youth in our community. If you're interested in that kind of innovative growth, you should make sure to support MACLA tonight. We're going to be telling you more about the unveiling of MACLA Studio as we move forward in the coming weeks and months, so stay tuned to hear more about MACLA Studio. Thank you for coming tonight.
The Teen Tech Center at MACLA offers youth the opportunity to explore their creativity through digital media and to develop their social and critical thinking skills. Please donate to MACLA tonight as we continue to uplift our youth and community. I'd now like to introduce Emma, an artist from the TTC.
I am a coward. Metaphors are squeezing their way into my throat, crowding words I will never say with doodled hearts and flowers, choking on my dandelion yellow tongue because we all know that they will never see the light of day. Euphemisms blanket thoughts that were never meant to sound pretty in my mouth. You see, not everything has a purpose, and some things are more useful than others. A car without a glove compartment will still run, but without an engine, it's just a pile of junk. This is the curse of a bad poet. Layering pretty language upon two words I do not have the courage to say. You look at me through glasses shaped like funhouse mirrors, and suddenly I am just a little girl playing dress up with words that will never fit her right. The flowers in her tangled hair are as fake as the ones crammed in her voice box. The grass stains on her big brother's jeans are as green as the clovers her tongue trips over every time she speaks. But none of them have four leaves, because her words were never quite lucky enough to be just right, because every archer needs a little good fortune to hit the bull's eye. Sometimes I envy the boy who scribbled sonnets in the margins of his math homework and wore the bruises around his eyes with pride. Being out is easier than being proud. Sometimes I miss the closet that is still in the back of my mind. I crawl into it often enough that it has not forgotten the shape of my body. Each time before I go, it hands me a cup of coffee, just warm enough to burn the tongue that threatens to betray it, and it lets me know that I will always be welcome there. It prepares my room the moment I leave, as though it knows that I will be back soon. Funny how something meant to stifle you can begin to feel like home if you let it, and I don't know if I was born into it, or if it simply sprang up around me one day, or if I will ever be ready to kiss it goodbye one last time, and I don't know if any of that matters. A secret breathed and lived and cherished is hardly a secret at all, a secret kept until it dissolved into my bones, until my blood sang with it whenever it was spilled, until I forgot it was ever a secret and not just my being. Is there a name for you where you can't find when the monster stops and you begin? Is there a word for the pain of the hate you save for yourself? Is there a way to kiss your body goodbye? The way the rain kisses the sidewalk when it falls, and sometimes I want to scream it into a megaphone, but it's easier to shout with some friends in California than it is to whisper at my grandparents' dinner table in Missouri, than it is to shout at church, at school, at the lunch table, in the locker room, when the best is a rainbow birthday cake and the worst is doors slamming in my face. When the closet is just so comfy, that why would you ever want to leave?
MACLA supports the work of Chicanx and Latinx artists. Racial healing, advocacy, social justice, those are the ideals at the heart of MACLA's past, present, and future. We stand alongside our community members in building a more equitable and liberated society through the arts. In a year where Black and Brown communities are fighting for justice, MACLA has been at the center of building that collective community power. We're an organization run by people like you, for people like you. Support us by making a contribution today. For those of you at home who are unable to contribute financially, support collective cultural power in other ways. That means sharing our work among your networks and social media. We're grateful for your involvement and support of MACLA. Seguimos adelante.
when Aaron de la Cruz was out there painting outside MACLA, and doing his work up there, up very high. So I just went out there and just sat, because he's always been a cool inspiration to me. Just always loved his work, and just to see him actually working in person here in San Jose was really cool to see. La Calavera to me represents the beauty of life and death. It's just a reminder that just because our loved ones are no longer here with us, it doesn't mean that they're entirely gone, because we keep them alive in our hearts and our memories. And for me, a way is through my artwork. So doing a series of calaveras, as long as they appreciate the art. I mean, not necessarily if they celebrate Dia de los Muertos or not. I mean, if they do, then that's even better. But just to fill their home with a new piece and create new beauty is really what matters most to me.
Well, hello everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for MACLA's 22nd annual LatinX Art Auction. My name is Raul Perales. I am your council representative for the District 3 area, which is the downtown and all the surrounding neighborhoods, and encompasses MACLA, which I'm very proud to be here in support of and representing tonight. It's my pleasure to be here virtually. As we all know, this year has been a struggle for all of us. And even more so for our small businesses and our independent businesses and business owners like our artists, individuals struggling to make ends meet this year. And that's why it's really, really important that we have the support of all of you, of our local community members, for joining us this evening, not only to just support MACLA, but to support all the local artists. So hopefully this evening, you're able to purchase some art like I just did last year at the 2019 auction. And I'm happy to be here and ask for your support this year. And I encourage you to purchase some art this evening, enjoying the fun with all of us, and we look forward to seeing all of you, hopefully in person next year.
Hola a todos, gracias por estar hoy con nosotros. Nos da mucha emoción estar con ustedes desde sus hogares. Nos estamos divirtiendo muchísimo y esperamos que ustedes también. Esperamos pronto poder reunirnos en persona, pero mientras tanto, sigan participando en nuestros programas virtuales, siguiéndonos en redes sociales y apoyando a nuestra comunidad, celebrando la cultura latinoamericana. No olviden después de nuestro programa sintonizar el concierto de los Villalobos Brothers organizado por San José Jazz. Buenas noches.
Back to this last feeling of protection and this feeling of what our parents do for us and the criticism that they have been taking on for bringing us here. With that in mind, I wanted to create like a collage painting embroidery that talked about that like last moment of embrace of like holding your child and requiring all this visibility while also needing invisibility to survive. The father or the mother figures are made of this reflective and high-vis material, while the children are left invisible, to really feel that sense of protection that I've always felt with my parents.
I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors for their generosity. We encourage you to support them. Southwest Airlines is our premier sponsor. We are also grateful to Heritage Bank of Commerce and our new neighbor Spark for joining us this year. We'd like to share the names of our additional supporters tonight, whose name you will see on the screen. Also, the next time you're in downtown San Jose, be sure to visit some of our local Latinx-owned restaurants, like Habana Cuba, Mezcal, and La Peñita. Thanks again for supporting MACLA and our artist community. I hope you enjoy your new artwork. Please stay tuned to San Jose Jazz's Live from Home series featuring the Villalobos Brothers.